evil Deku appears. Regular Deku nearly gets isekai'd by a truck, and the truth about Shigaraki's origins destroys Nana Shimura. This chapter just changed everything, so let's talk about it. You guys know the drill. If you enjoy my MHA content and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like and comment right now for that YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do me a huge favor and subscribe. It only takes you a second, but it helps me out a lot. In the last chapter, the Eri cliffhanger seemed to go nowhere, as it was confirmed that Eri is nowhere near the battlefield and that she doesn't even have enough power stored up to actually help Deku. Now, maybe Horikoshi still plans to surprise us with Eri, but as of right now, we can't expect too much from that plot point. We then transitioned into a whole thing about all the side characters needing to believe in Deku, the main protagonist, and in his ability to defeat the ultimate villain. Kaminari almost broke the fourth wall to remind us of the importance of this classic shonen trope. In the end, back on the battlefield, Deku seemingly managed to land another big punch on Shigaraki, presumably allowing him to transfer more of his blood into the villain. This in turn presumably allowed him to transfer another former One For All user into Shigi's Vestige world, and because the final page of the chapter takes Deku into Shigaraki's memories of his childhood home, I speculated that the latest One For All user who entered Shigaraki must have been none other than his grandma, Nana Shimura. Nana entering Shigaraki's consciousness is the perfect point in time to explore Shigaraki's tragic backstory as Tenko Shimura, and how it all came to a head inside his childhood home. In truth, the exact opposite of that happened, but more on that in a little bit. The new chapter starts off with that massive finger cocoon that Shigaraki has created being penetrated by Deku's epic punch, the beginning of which we saw in the last chapter. The attack generates a powerful gust of wind that blows Hatsune's drone away, and the people watching on the TVs are confused about what's happening. It looked like Deku was sucked into Shigaraki's creepy cocoon, so now they're wondering if he's trapped in there, is he winning the fight, is he losing? It's hard to say from their perspective. Meanwhile, inside the cocoon, like I said earlier, it seems like the very opposite of what I thought would happen happened. In my last video, I said that I think Nana will be the one who is transferred next because that is why Deku ended up inside Tenko's childhood memories. However, it turns out that all the other vestiges except for Nana were able to enter Shigaraki's consciousness, but Nana specifically was repelled by the villain and prevented from entering his vestige world. Nana believes that she was repelled because she has conflicting feelings about Shigaraki. He is now a terrible villain, but he is still her grandson and the child of her beloved son, Kotaro. So maybe Nana couldn't enter because her willpower simply wasn't strong enough. Her desire to bring down her own grandson may not be powerful enough because of the clear personal conflict of interest involved here. We then see Deku in front of Shigaraki's childhood home, which is the point at which the previous chapter ended. Deku prepares to ring the doorbell, but that is when a dark version of himself approaches him. The dark Deku asks regular Deku what he is planning. What does he think will actually change if he finds out the truth about Shigaraki's past? Now, Deku believes that this is actually Shigaraki talking to him. He is simply assuming the guise of a darker version of Deku. It's basically Shigaraki's consciousness trying to kick Deku out of this memory. Deku says that he doesn't know what will change, but he intends to find out. Now, Shigaraki clearly isn't happy about this, and in the next moment, poor Deku nearly gets isekai'd by a truck that suddenly appears in the street. This is another manifestation of Shigaraki's consciousness attempting to kick Deku out of this memory. But it would be pretty funny if all of a sudden in this crucial stage of the story, Deku got hit by a truck and straight up isekai'd to another world. Let me know down in the comments what kind of isekai world you would like to see Deku isekai'd to. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe right here on the video to support your boy. Okay, so when the truck approached him, Deku's backpack actually got damaged by the truck, which seems to imply that even though this is Shigaraki's memory, Deku could still potentially be physically hurt in real life if he gets hurt in this memory. Nana seems to confirm this by stating that as a user One For All, Deku was able to manifest a physical form upon entering Shigaraki's consciousness. This allows him to interact with the villain's consciousness directly, but it also potentially leaves him open to serious injury. I mean, it would make sense for Deku to be in danger of being hurt even while inside Shigaraki's memories, because if that wasn't the case, then there wouldn't be much tension in this fight. Now, Nana is still able to communicate with Deku directly because she is the only vestige that remained within Deku. Nana says that this place, this memory, is Shigaraki's origin. This is the core of who he is. This is where it all started, and this is where they have to hit him if they want to defeat him and rescue Tenko. This is their one and only chance to win this fight. Deku is ready to go, and he decides to just run past the doorbell and rush inside the house. However, he is then attacked by several figures from Shigaraki's own memories, including Stain, who later transforms to Redestro, and who in turn transforms to Overhaul. All of these encounters with the other villains are from Shigaraki's own perspective, so Deku experiences them as if he were Shigaraki. Nevertheless, Deku manages to shake the visions off and open the door to Shigaraki's childhood home. When he swings the door open, he sees that photo of Nana and her son Kotaro from when Kotaro was just a child, before she had to leave him in order to protect him from All For One. In the background, Deku and Nana hear the conversation about heroes that Tenko and Hana were having as children, and upon seeing this sight of her and her son in the photo, Nana's eyes swell with tears. But when Deku actually walks through the door of the house, he sees a much more gruesome sight. He sees Shigaraki's father Kotaro brutally beating little Tenko as the dog Monchan barks angrily. But little Tenko appears as nothing more than a dark silhouette, at least for now. Nana is shocked to see this, her beloved son as a grown man brutally beating his own son and her grandson. Nana begins to cry and Deku rushes over to stop the abuse, but he can't seem to break through an invisible barrier. Nana and Deku then hear Kotaro telling Tenko that his grandmother Nana was a demon who abandoned her own child. And that is why heroes can't be trusted and no one should strive to be a hero. Nana thinks to herself that this simply isn't true. She left her son in order to protect him from All For One. Her husband and Kotaro's father was already killed by All For One at that point, and All For One was constantly hunting Nana and her family, so she hid Kotaro away in order to save him. Eventually, she herself was killed by All For One, so if she hadn't left Kotaro when she did, it is very possible that he would have also been killed by the villain. But Kotaro was too small back then to understand this, and so he felt betrayed and abandoned by his mother, and he took all of that anger and anguish out on his own son because Tenko wanted to be a hero just like Nana. Nana is devastated to learn all of this, because as we know, she was already long dead by the time Tenko was born, so she herself didn't realize what exactly happened. She's only learning of all of this now as a Vestige. Nana is just heartbroken, she is crying, and she eventually falls to her knees in despair. She blames herself for everything. If she had been strong enough to actually defeat All For One instead of getting killed by him, she would have been able to return to her son and all of this suffering would have been avoided. Everything that happened to Kotaro, Tenko, and their entire family could have been avoided if only she had been stronger. She apologizes to her son Kotaro for being such a weak mother and for never coming back for him. But Nana knows that she can't just sit there and cry. She has to do something, and so she stands up and together with Deku, she pushes until that invisible barrier is finally broken. Nana is then able to stop Kotaro from continuing to hit Tenko, while Deku reaches out to grab little Tenko and save him from his father. In that moment, Nana finally manages to enter Shigaraki's Vestige world along with the other Vestiges. And both she and Kotaro then disappear from this specific memory. Little Tenko, who up until this point was only a dark silhouette, now becomes the real Tenko in full color. Well, technically the manga is black and white, but you know what I mean. This is a symbolic hint that even though Shigaraki tried to bury and hide Tenko away, Deku is slowly succeeding in reaching him. That is why he is no longer just a dark silhouette. The final page shows Tenko hugging Monchan in what we know is that very moment in which his quirk Decay is supposed to activate. But this time, Deku is watching everything, and this is massive. This will change everything. Deku is about to witness the trauma that created Shigaraki, but he is also likely going to figure out that Tenko was actually born quirkless, just like Deku, and that Decay was secretly forced upon him without his knowledge by All For One. When Shigaraki figures that out, his psyche will likely become more unstable. His newfound image of himself as independent from All For One will be challenged, and this will provide the best possible opportunity to defeat him. So what can we expect now? What exactly will all the Vestiges do from the inside in order to bring Shigaraki down? And what will Deku have to do in order to potentially get through to Tenko and save him from what Shigaraki has become? Let me know down in the comments what you think will happen next. Personally, I can't help but think that we are reaching the end here. With all the other villains defeated, with all the Vestiges now inside Shigaraki, and with Deku seemingly about to reach the real Tenko, we could be looking at the end of the entire manga like really soon. Seriously, it feels like this thing could fully end in only about 5 to 10 chapters. Do you guys agree? Let me know down below. If you're looking for an epic MHA video to watch next, don't ignore my full MHA playlist, link on screen and in the description. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, please leave a like to let me know. And if you're not subscribed yet, do me a huge favor and subscribe right now. It helps me out a lot.